Hey everybody, this is Tony.
And this is Paul. We're coming at you from the Friends for Life podcast, where we discuss the ongoing lives and issues of people with developmental disabilities to spark positive change in the field.
And we have a lot of fun doing it.
Making sure that individuals are reaching the goals they have set for themselves. That's one of the many goals of Assured Health Services. If you're looking for a residential care provider or searching for ADS services, Assured Health is your go-to place. Assured Health, helping others succeed. Learn more at assuredhealthohio.com or call 419-442-8066. Kathy, Lisa, welcome to the podcast. You've been on
couple times.
Many times. We have too many podcasts to keep track of.
I know. I was going to say, you guys have a lot of podcasts, so I think I've only been on 2 or 3, probably very small.
Well, you've had episodes with Sarah, us,
I did.
Everybody in between.
A big shout out. We got to give a big shout out to Sarah's new episodes that will be coming out that are completely her doing her thing.
That you recorded like 7 months ago.
Is that what it is? You did one with, she did one with John Ross and me. Okay.
So how's Synergy going for both of you? This is Tony and I's first time, and it's been fun.
Yeah, it's my first time also. Right. It's been real fun, except for the issue of my television changing channels on its own all night.
You have a haunted room?
I am pretty sure my room is haunted. That's
it is
okay,
the Halloween time, right? Like,
I mean, they just kept wanting to watch Disney or The Walking Dead, and I was not going for that.
Were you trying to watch HGTV? That's what I want to watch.
No, I was actually watching the first 48. I like those true crime things.
There we go.
Let's go.
True crime, you guys, how often do you think of the Roman Empire?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my
Every minute of the day. Every waking moment of my life.
Do you think that whole thing is legit?
No.
I mean,
I think about the Greek Empire.
See,
Just kidding.
this is the same thing. Like my ex-husband's like, I think about the Vietnam War all the time, and I was like, oh, well, that's weird. But never in my wildest dreams would I think about that.
No, it's
but
not
true crime, I would think about,
all the time.
or just. I actually think about pickleball, like at least 10 times a day.
Really?
my trauma brings me to crack.
Crack?
Sorry. Like, I just got to put it out
You
there.
think about crack often?
Yeah, because I think about what it did to my community and how it affected me. I mean, I love my mom, but that addiction she had, it weighed hard.
Okay, that goes with the 9/11. That's another topic I think about a lot. Like when you've been affected deeply by
the trauma.
Some kind of traumatic, because I'm very privileged and blessed, and so 9/11 is the one that comes to mind.
Hey,
I did not have,
look, just be happy that you didn't.
Yeah, I know. but that was a big one. Yeah.
But I look at it through other eyes. I mean, there are other drugs of use that other people are using. And then it scares me because literally I was just in a situation with an individual that I served in the past who left our services because he needed care for his addiction. Mm-hmm. And he didn't want the care that we were given. We were holding him accountable.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So choice of provider comes in and it's, well, nope, I don't.
Yeah, he's not going to stick around.
He's not going to stay for that. And then comes a situation in which now people are physically getting harmed or threatened and all from another provider, and then they just completely leave him.
Yeah.
And then he's just stuck on his own.
Yeah.
So, damn, that got really emotional.
Yeah, that got real deep.
We weren't even supposed to get it like that, right?
But Synergy's awesome. We were talking about the haunted television. We went here.
It's stuff that needs to be talked about, though.
Yeah, it is super. It's one of the hardest things about SSA work. I mean, Kathy's SSA director, and I, come from the SSA world, and I mean, dealing with having that where people have that choice to make good choices and bad choices and live their life, but yet you watch. You're like, but
the decline.
But you don't have the support. If you had the right support and people around you, you might have made better choices. Or that's not, like, how do you? I don't know. That dignity of risk. It's a huge thing that I always talk about, but at the same time, it's one of the hardest things to watch.
It's a balance.
It really
is. It's a balance.
So how do you handle that, Kathy? Like,
it's not always easy, but at the end of the day, it is like trying to figure out what is important to that person, while knowing that there are risks that are involved, and maybe sometimes trying to put some things in place that the person will be more agreeable to try and deter away. I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes we have to step in, but that should be extreme because education, I think, is big.
If you're anything like me, which I feel you are, you know, education and self-accountability is very, very important. And us as leaders in our field of work, we should be giving the tools out and giving the education to help our individuals. And realize we have to say it more than 7 to 20 to 30, 40, 50 times.
It's a long road. It's very, and recognizing the small steps, small successes, small wins that everybody gets. The one thing I would go back to is, and it goes back to my time when I was an SSA, and Tony probably still PTSD from those days. But
her and her boards.
Yes,
oh my
I always
goodness.
had big paper. Because I do believe that, obviously giving education and continuing, to me, it's all about relationships.
Yes.
And so if you are working with, if you're the provider and you have, a young person or whatever, an older person struggling with that stuff, if you don't have that relationship with them where they trust you and feel safe with you, it doesn't matter what you inform, what you do, it's not going to work. So I always go back to the gift of that relationship. Like if you created the relationship, even for the person that you were saying, left, you changed that person's life for whatever time you guys had them. Like you gave them, and they may or may not ever come back. They may or may not find other people that do that. But I think that's the ticket is hanging on to the fact that your gift of that caring and that relationship, and that you did everything that you could.
Oh my goodness.
To care for them, right? And then you just gotta after that, you're like, that's all I can do. It's just like, alcoholism or anything in your own, family.
It was a reason that the SSA ended up calling me after the notice was put out there.
Yeah.
And my assistance was, it's not about us resuming services. Right now, it's resuming help.
Yeah.
We need to be in this person's life because this is a struggle that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
Correct. And you have to think about a lot of the things that the way that our system is built. We're getting better and we continually try and improve. But a lot of people feel out of control still. We're still really trying to push to give people more control of their services and everything.
Yeah.
And so when you feel out of control, you will control the things that you can.
Yes.
And it's no different with anyone else in the world. So finding ways to give people back their voice,
every
their control.
single chance to acknowledge and people where they have control in their life and where they're using it in a positive way. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's huge. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what synergy is all about. Back to synergy, right?
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean, we are here at
It's
Synergy.
all about that voice. You look at the topics, my voice, my choice, and how to make good decisions, and giving consent, and a lot of sexuality stuff. I'm like, well, this is kind of exciting.
Yeah.
Even though I can't get the two people that I'm here with to go, I'm like, come on, go talk to them. But I love that stuff. Like Synergy always has really pertinent topics around that, giving people more choice and control.
Well,
it improves everyone's life.
Yeah, I mean, physical impact is such a thing. I mean, we come out of the womb and the first thing that we do is skin to skin, or it should be done. And it's been studies proven that kids who don't receive that have emotional detachment later on. But why do we think a person with an IDD is not going to want to feel the same compassion and connection?
Because everybody's a human. Everyone here's human.
Yes.
Yeah. We have the same needs and the same wants and the same desires and all of that.
It's so hard though. I mean, the connection, I was just talking about my son, right? It's when you process things different, when you communicate differently, when you look different. It's human nature to have a more difficult time connecting with people that are different, than you or whatever. And I just feel like that's always been in my whole life in the field, is trying to figure out how do we get more people in the lives of people with disabilities. Like,
Yes.
I just expand, because we can't make somebody connect with another person. Like,
Right.
we can't. But the only way you can is by introductions, being around people. I mean, you'll never know unless you are out there doing things. And then you find those connections here.
Yes.
I seem to connect with people fairly easily.
Me too.
I don't really know what that's
Boom.
but not everybody it's no easy for, you know? And that's what I worry about, is people that, and that's what worries about the field in general. And as a parent of a person with disabilities, like knowing. But he has his own way of connecting.
And that's what you have to trust in the long run.
Yeah.
That you've instilled the correct models, and the world has been kind enough to offer opportunities for it. Mm-hmm. But Kathy, tell us about your county and how things are going there. How you, like, anything new, anything exciting?
Well, we're the best county.
Let's go. Speak your love. Speak your greatness.
Summit is quite amazing.
Yeah.
If you remember, John Trunk used to be the superintendent in Lucas County.
Yes.
He went to Summit and
Yes.
he changed the world. We trained him, and he took all of his gifts and talents to Summit and just bolted on us.
I spent a lot of time with him too, growing up.
Yeah,
Like,
so he retired recently, but he definitely was a good
Congrats.
and knew how to have good people working there.
He was relationship driven, going back to that. But yeah, in Summit, we are rolling. We are developing some different ways to help serve people who need maybe a little more intense wraparound service, trying to build a team that in-house that can help people who are transitioning out of DCs to integrate more back into their home community and get that wraparound support, helping to support providers to be able to do the job, because that can be really difficult providing for people like that. It just takes some extra training, some extra understanding, and we think that if we help and support to give capacity, we can serve more people in a better way. A big focus on kids, always big focus on kids.
the earlier, the better.
We're developing a self-direction series for some of our people that we serve in the county, and it's going to be a way for them to help find their voice, their communication style, what their triggers are, and how to speak up. And eventually we're going to roll out an educational type of program to help develop people to get on boards, places, or be leaders in the community. Everything that we do is really person-centered. A lot of people talk about person-centered planning, but we say person-centered thinking. Planning is a document and a process.
Yes.
Person-centered thinking is a mindset and a culture.
True.
And that's where we focus.
So what city you by in Summit County?
Well, we have...
Where is Summit County?
Summit County encompasses like the Akron area and surrounding. So we're below Cuyahoga, below Cleveland, above Canton, in between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuck in the middle.
Northeast Ohio. Go Browns.
It's beautiful out there.
It is really beautiful.
Yeah.
Is really
It is.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's Paul's kind of love for fishing and stuff. I'm sure it sounds like a lot of streams and valleys and stuff.
Let's go do a podcast out there.
There you go.
You are welcome at Summit anytime.
I think that's our next road trip.
Yeah.
There you go.
We're always
Fun.
on the road. The Reliable Drug and Alcohol Testing Clinic is a leading provider and convenient source of pre-employment and occupational type testing. Their clinic provides services to a wide range of private businesses, healthcare facilities, and municipal and county courts. Reliable is an independent, locally owned clinic. As a result, they provide their services at a lower cost than the major hospitals, have faster turnaround times on test results, and eliminate the long waits typically incurred at these larger facilities. To learn more, visit reliabledrugtest.com.
So I think that one of the things that I think people that aren't in the DD world, that aren't involved with this in the day-to-day, don't realize, and it's something that I've kind of inherently known growing up because my grandma worked in this field, and it's just, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of exposure till I started working here with Tony, but they don't think about what you guys brought up earlier, the drug and alcohol side of things. And I don't think people think about that at all. On top of having a disability, there's also the same addiction problems you have. How does providers or even the county go in helping people with that? Are there programs out there, or is there options besides your providers, like just helping the person through that? Because it affects everyone in every aspect of life, and I just don't think that it's something that's thought about in the DD world outside of it. And
Yeah, I think that's a real gap area. I think addiction and even mental health, like all of that is, the two systems don't integrate very well together at the moment.
Especially in the adult world.
Yeah.
They've tried to do more in the kid world,
Yeah.
but the adult world's rough.
So what we do in Summit is try and partner with community agencies, try and provide maybe some education and some ways to help adapt programming so that it's more relatable to people who have all different abilities. But, it's still a gap area, and it's something I think we need to work on.
It shouldn't be that hard. I mean, it is hard, don't get me wrong. I sound cavalier about addiction, and I'm not.
big deal.
Yeah, even though I'm very blessed and privileged, I also have a lot of experience with family members who have addiction problems. But, and it's when you think about what helps people get through that, whether you have a disability or not, it usually is like some kind of a support group or
team.
Yeah, it's a team. It always is. And both the people that have been close to me have gone through like an AA program and have stayed, at varying levels of success based on how they. And it's like, why don't we just I wonder any place in the state has partnered with. It's not. AA meetings are not, like a degree. It's just typical people that get together and learn from other people that have been doing it for a while. Like, it's not like you have to go to school for it.
Right.
So it'd be really interesting to see, I'm always big on integration, so I'm like, well, why can't they just go to a regular AA meeting? Understanding that they may not, some of the people, depending on their other disabilities, may not have the ability to get the same thing out of it. Why haven't we created? We create all kinds of separate.
For sure.
I already have an answer. It's the red tape.
It shouldn't be red tape.
It shouldn't be, but let's dissect it.
Basic.
Let's dissect it. Most people who have to go to AA have eventually probably hit such a rock bottom that they've gotten a record.
Yeah, a lot of them are mandated.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then once they've went through that, sometimes those records are lifetime offenders. One of the first things I was thinking of, the individual that I was speaking of, I want to go hire a sponsor, somebody who has knowledge. And I know someone who's like that, but he has a record that prevents him from ever being able to do this. So it would have to be a voluntary thing. And now we're only keeping it to a point where it's still, like, let's call a spade a spade. If we have an individual who needs consistent care, we are going to need to have consistent counseling or consistent motivation. It's not going to be you go to a class this day or you go to an hour meeting this day. Like, it needs to be instilled consistently. And that right there is what I see as being the biggest problem.
You guys have my wheels turning.
I know. I'm sitting here thinking about it.
Peer recovery coaches, I wonder if we could get something like that going.
I can't imagine. In Toledo, like I said, I've had very close family and friends going through, Compass and the different drug rehab and Arrowhead and all those kind of stuff, and then, very much know the AA world. And I don't think, it's not the answer completely for this one guy, but in general, why don't we? Are we reaching, would a county board or whoever reach out to some of those and say, we'd like to support you guys in developing a peer support group? The way to do it is to just start getting out there with some people who've been through it, lived the experience, and and they go to meetings. My ex-husband, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And that's that is what keeps them healthy. So the fact, do they care if 2 or 3 people with disabilities showed up at the meeting?
Yeah, I'm sure not.
No, I highly doubt it.
Yeah.
And then they'll realize, like, hey, it's honestly
it's one
more
step.
of us.
Yeah,
I mean,
and then that gets that idea, like that's how you find a sponsor, by going
Yep.
to some of those. Or if you wanted to go more like high tech and you went through some of the actual community mental health, drug and rehab things,
Yeah.
where they do have, kind of they kick off those meetings, but asking them to partner with somebody from the DD system.
And making sure things are accessible. That's another thing, because I know a lot of them are in like church basements.
Well, yeah, and getting there, and then that's when you need the providers, and then you gotta and it's
well, and if you
free,
have
by the way.
mobility issues, I don't think there's an elevator in my church to get down to the basement. So
good point.
how is there even access in some of those places?
What about if we just started offering at county board buildings
Yeah.
to have AA meetings for the community at large?
Yeah.
In a
Like,
county board
honestly,
building? They meet for free rent.
Look, we didn't. This was not
This
scripted.
is it. We're going down.
We started off with chicken wings and haunted places. Like this is.
So honestly, I am so happy where this has went, because it's a conversation that's not being had.
Yeah.
I agree.
And this, I think,
Paul, it's always Paul that asks the big questions.
yeah,
The rest of us are just here for fun.
we're just like, duh.
Yeah.
Where's the chicken wings in the pot?
Oh, sorry, I was going down. I was thinking about the Roman Empire.
Pickleball. It's super inclusive. And now we're coming up with a drug and alcohol recovery program, okay?
The county boards will
This
sponsor.
is how it happens,
right?
people.
It's the energy of this atmosphere of everyone. There's probably like behind this wall right here, there's probably like 3,000 people sitting in a room. So
That's
they're
right,
just-
they are. They're listening to the other R word. I was supposed to be in there.
Yeah, I was actually. So we're not even going to hold up too long, but I do want.
We need to do something with this.
Yes, I do want us to have more conversation about this, and let's sit down and have a think tank. But in the meantime, you two ladies are awesome.
Thank you.
And we're definitely going to listen to all this.
Food time now.
The train is going by.
You never know what's going to happen next.
But that sounds like lunch, people.
All right. On that note, we'll solve more problems later.
Yes, we will. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
THS Remote Supports is clearly focused on improving independent living through dynamic and personalized services. Their systems have been carefully developed and perfected to ensure that everyone receives the best care through the least intrusive means possible. Located in Cincinnati, Ohio, they've spent over 20 years providing in-home supports to individuals with disabilities. If you or someone you know is looking for a remote service provider, go to thsrss.com or call 513-882-9088.